AM 650, KGAB Radio, KGAB.com. My name's Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. It's officially a Friday, and I'm glad you made it. Oh, okay. And I got a friend here from Wyoming Liberty Group I'm going to go to in just a moment. Just so you know, because of what the streaming is doing right here, the interview with you is going to be on YouTube later because it's not letting me connect to Facebook. I'm sorry about that, but that's okay. We're here on the radio together and also live streaming at KGAB.com. Austin Hein is with me from Wyoming Liberty Group, and part of what we're going to talk about today is charter school reform, and that came up during our conversations even about taxation that was happening with the group earlier this morning, because we spend so much money in the state of Wyoming on education, more than a lot of other states per student, with a lot less result, it seems like. First off, am I right about that?
You're absolutely right. We are actually 7th in the nation in education spending per capita. We're spending roughly $16,000 per student, a little over that even. And, really, we're middle of the pack when it comes to education quality, and our test results aren't matching that funding.
Okay. Well, now, when I'm in favor of school voucher programs, always have been. That way the money can just go ahead and follow the student, and the parent can go ahead and make up their mind which course of action they want to take with their students. That's something you would agree with?
Absolutely. I'm in favor of any options that's going to give parents more choices as far as where they need to send their kids and what school works best for their kids. Vouchers is a great program to do that. We've seen Florida successfully implement those programs. I also think something like education savings accounts would be great as well. Whatever it takes to get that money tied to the kids and not to the schools, that's going to be the best for market competition.
Okay, now in that sense, though, because oftentimes when I say we need to diversify that school vouchers, I think of private schools, which I went to a few when I was younger. Homeschooling, of course, is always an option, and money can follow into homeschooling as well. So you can use the school voucher to buy whatever you need to go ahead and homeschool your kids. But when we're talking about charter schools, that's slightly different, isn't it? It operates a different way.
It is. A charter school is still a public school. They are just less tied to that government bureaucracy and regulations. Now, Wyoming has 4 charter schools in the whole state, and a lot of that is due to the kind of overbearing conditions that the state government has put on charter schools and how that approves.
Let's define what overbearing conditions are.
Sure. So in the state of Wyoming, if you want to start a district charter school, you would have to apply to the school districts themselves to be able to get that charter. And that seems like a conflict of interest, because why would these...
They wouldn't want the competition.
Why would you want the competition? Yeah. Absolutely. And you should see this application. The application looks like the DMV in novel form, and it's
let me guess, War and Peace.
Right, it's War and Peace, the sequel, and it's really an overbearing process. And the way that the Wyoming statutes have it set up, they only allow a maximum of 5-year charters, and among that, even like say in Cheyenne, which we have a wonderful charter school called Poder Academy, they are being limited to 3 years per charter. So every 3 years, they have to go through the same application process again, all the way from A to Z.
So wait a second. Instead of just having the state come in and review to see are they meeting state standards, they have to completely reapply and do the whole thing all over again.
Absolutely, the whole thing. Yeah, right. And that's a long, arduous process. They have to rewrite that novel and then go through the review process again, and that's a whole district court of public opinion, basically, when it comes to this.
Do you think, go ahead and put your tin hat on for this, are you thinking maybe that they do this, the state does this, to discourage charter schools from popping up?
Well, that's certainly a possibility. I think, anything that takes power away from that regulatory structure, that's a threat to them. And we need to allow schools to operate on their own merits.
Okay, so Wyoming Liberty Group is working on charter school reform. So I guess the reform, part of that is just so they don't have to write that novel every so many years. So what would this look like?
So my ideas are pretty simple, and it really just focuses on a market-based solution. So the first thing would be creating this independent charter authorizer and allowing more entities to be able to approve charter schools. And in this case, my proposal would involve a statewide board that charter school organizations could apply to. And we're also going to get rid of this 5-year maximum ceiling structure. That needs to go entirely. And not only that, but we need to simplify the process. Instead of charter schools asking for permissions from the government to be able to operate like a charter school, we're going to solidify those statutes and make sure that they are automatically acting as charters.
Okay, so we still have state standards here that include testing, things like that. So there are still some state standards and certain, I guess, levels they have to live up to as far as the quality of the school is concerned.
Correct.
Because they are, and I can understand that in part because, look, they're going to be getting the money from the state in order to operate. And so if I'm giving you money, I expect you to do it my way.
Sure.
So.
And that's certainly something that, it's understandable that you want to be able to have that oversight because it is public funds.
Yeah.
But you should still, this is your money. As you said, your taxpayer money goes to this. And so you should be allowed to use that taxpayer money and use it on the school of your choice and use that in a way and use that market influence to be able to choose how you want your charter to operate. I think the more options that happen and the more ideas that come out of the charter organizations, the more choices we'll have and the better education we'll have.
Talk about some of that coming up next. Austin is my guest. He's with Wyoming Liberty Group, AM 650, KGAB.
It's better to give than receive. But what if you could give and receive? Renewal by Anderson's Merry Christmas to You Black Friday sale is back. Just book a free in-home consultation and buy your windows and doors between November 23rd and December 7th. You'll get 20% off each item, plus no down payment, no interest, and no payments for 18 months with approved financing. That's no payments until 2020. Another fantastic Christmas shopping bonus: the more you buy, the more you receive. Buy 3 windows and get a $500 Visa. 4 to 7 windows get you an $800 Visa. And 8 to 12 windows net you a $1,500 Visa. Remember, this deal's only good for 2 weeks, so book and buy between November 23rd and December 7th. Merry Christmas from Renewal by Anderson of Wyoming. Here to serve you. Visit RBAWyoming.com or call 472-2199 today. That's 472-2199. 472-2199.
Amazing deals are going on now during Menard's Christmas Home and Gift Sale. Stop by Menard's Automotive section today and save on car care products and vehicle accessories. Get a Die-Hard fully automatic battery charger with scrolling digital display. It works on both 6-volt and 12-volt batteries. Pick it up today for just $34.99 during Menard's Christmas Home and Gift Sale. Sale price is good through December 1st. Plus, give the perfect gift this Christmas with the Menard's gift card.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menard's.
Beneath the headlines and beyond the chatter. This morning with Gordon Deal tackles subjects like travel, technology, and more. Weekday mornings at 4 on AM 650 KGAB.
17, cloudy, 31, AM 650, KGAB Radio. My name is Glenn Woods. Austin is joining me from Wyoming Liberty Group. We're talking about charter school reform. You can ask him questions at 632-6500. This is Glenn. Who's on the phone with us?
Good morning, Glenn. This is Cody.
Yes, sir.
Hey, real quick, what did he say the cost per student, or what the schools get per student was?
That's $16,000 per student per year.
16000.
Correct.
Man, that seems like a lot of money, doesn't it?
It is compared to most of the country, yes.
Especially when you compare even what college tuition. LCCC or even UW is way cheaper a year in tuition there.
Right, and that's pretty wild. And especially if you think about, well, if you have 25 kids in a classroom and $16,000 per student, you're talking over $300,000, in each classroom per year. That's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, and there's those that think that the private industry can't do a better job. I would bet there's a lot better options out there privately for that kind of money that we could be doing with our kids. But anyway, thanks for all your work.
Thank you, Cody.
Well, and that makes me think so. Charter schools have a tendency to operate cheaper than the public schools. So do you have an estimated cost? I may be asking outside of your ballpark here. An estimated cost, if we went to charter schools more in Wyoming than we do now, that would cost what per student?
Well, each charter school operates on their own budget and their own finances. Yeah. However, I traveled down to Arizona a couple months ago and met with the CEO of a charter school organization called Basis. and they were educating students at roughly, I think it's $5,500 per student. So
Okay.
that's a third of what we're spending. And if you look at their test results, they're testing at 92% proficiency in math
Right.
and reading, and the average Wyoming public school is teaching at less than 70% of proficiency in those same
Grab your
subjects.
headphones again. We got another caller coming in. This is Glenn, who's on the phone.
Hi, Glenn. It's Lisa.
I knew you would be out there for this one.
I knew you knew.
Yeah.
I am a former teacher, and I taught at a charter school in Fort Collins called Ridgeview Classical, and it was a parent-led charter school, and the curriculum was wonderful. My concern with charter schools is there are corporations that want to start charter schools. Sorry, my puppy is wanting food. Corporations that want to profit off of our children. There's a lady named Alice Linehan who fought this battle in Texas. The ultimate goal is to take control of all education over all kids, including homeschoolers. I am all for school choice, but I don't want school choice where you pick the building, but what happens inside of it is the same no matter what the building looks like.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think the more diversity in education that we have, the less likely that scenario happens. I think I do understand your concerns on that.
I really wish you would talk to Alice Linehan. She can explain it so much better than I am because she fought it up close and personal. And then my other thought is we have a wonderful private school here in town, Trinity Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
They have a wonderful curriculum as well.
You know, I had met with their headmaster, Trent Demarest, and he's a really intelligent guy, and I like him a lot. I think private schools are a great option, especially if you can afford it, and you know we want to make that more affordable and let that be an option for parents to be able to take their kids to.
All right, go feed your dog.
Okay,
All
bye.
right, thanks.
Thank
Brian.
you.
Appreciate it. More from Wyoming Liberty Group in just a moment. AM 650, KGAB.
You wouldn't put a square peg in a round hole, so why would you deploy a traditional firewall in a modern decentralized network? Firewalls have new requirements for businesses leveraging SaaS-based applications and public cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. We're in the cloud generation now, so your firewalls have to be engineered to fit right in. Reclaim your cloud network. Try a Barracuda Cloud Generation Network or application firewall free at barracuda.com/firewalls.
HealthReach would like to introduce Dr. Patricia Ziska as a new member of the HealthReach provider team. Dr. Patty has her residency training in emergency medicine and public health. She brings over 30 years of urgent care experience to HealthReach. With training in wilderness and travel medicine, she's a great resource to consult before any foreign trips or if you get injured while exploring the wilderness. Learn more about how HealthReach's providers can help you by visiting healthreachwyo.com. Find them on Del Range, east of the mall. HealthReach, your gateway to healthcare.
Motivation, inspiration, education, all without any manipulation. It's The Flatline with Rick Hughes. Each week, Rick invites you to orient and adjust and learn the 10 problem-solving devices found in the Bible and apply them to your life. It's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, Sunday mornings at 7:30 on Cheyenne's #1 news talk radio, AM 650, KGAB, and online at kgab.com.
Back to KGAB's Wyoming Wake Up with Glenn Woods on AM 650 KGAB.
Time is 8:22, AM 650, KGAB Radio. Your calls are welcome. Sitting in the studio with me is Austin Hein. He's with Wyoming Liberty Group. We're talking about school choice, mainly charter schools. This is Glenn, who's on the phone.
Hi, Glenn. This is Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, charter schools is something that I've spent a great deal of time with. In fact, I was part of a group that tried to start a charter school in Laramie County about 5 years ago. And I can definitely attest to the fact that the local school board does everything they can to make that process as onerous as possible. And we actually appealed our thing to the state school board. And just for instance of what they did, we had over 1,000 pages of transcripted from the hearing that we had. and they told the state school board that they didn't print them out and give them a copy of it because it was too much for them to read. So all they had to do was ask, and they would tell them what happened. So getting the local school districts away from that decision-making process is huge. Point two, educating kids is not rocket science. It's not. We've been doing it for thousands of years. And if you just teach the kids the basics to automaticity, to where when you ask them what's 7 times 5 and they say 35 and they don't have to pull out a calculator, then they can begin to use that to develop further ideas. Teaching reading, teaching math, teaching basics, civics to automaticity is the key to a firm foundation. Third point, he's absolutely right when he says 16 grand per kid is a huge amount of money. When I was a principal in Washington State, we were averaging $5,200 per kid. We'd get enhancement funds if we went through Voc stuff, but they, at no time did I not produce kids that, well, the school I was in, the first school I was in, we were number 5 in the state of Washington when I was there. The second school I was in, we were one of 20 recognized by the state in our gains in reading and writing and math because we focused on teaching the basics to automaticity. And I'm sorry to take so much time, and you have a great day.
Okay, well, let me ask you then, as we look at the state of Wyoming, are there other groups out there that want to start charter schools in the state of Wyoming? I mean, is this why Wyoming Liberty Group is picking up this?
Well, I do think that there are charter organizations nationally and locally who would love the opportunity to move into Wyoming, but it is just not a friendly climate.
Okay.
And, the amount of startup costs that would entail is just not worth the risk.
Right.
Charter schools would have to secure their own property before they even apply.
Yeah.
And so that's a big down payment for something that may not pay off.
Oh, well, good. I hadn't thought about that. So a big down payment to get the school up and going, but then there's no guarantee, and it could be even years before they can get it going. So what's the point of coming in?
Right, and then years after they get it going, and then 3 years later, they decide that they don't want it anymore.
Right, or they have to go out and write another novel again, as you
Right.
say. Okay.
Right.
So let's go back and take a look at what your proposal is specifically. What changes do you want to make, and how are you going to propose this to the state?
Well, certainly that statewide charter authorizer, that's a big part of it. I also want to allow universities and community colleges and just all of our higher education organizations to be able to approve as well. And this would kind of create a competition for that approval and kind of have some more accountability there. I also think we need to automize the regulations on charter schools and make those easier and more straightforward. I also want to give charter schools even a little more flexibility than what they currently have. They have to ask the state government and the local school boards for every little waiver. And one of the waivers that I think would be really important is giving them a waiver over teacher certification standards. And I know that sounds kind of scary, but the reality is that we have a lot of experts out there in the field who aren't able to teach because of teacher certification standards that we have in the state. So, I mean, you're familiar with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and physicist. If he wanted to teach your 8th grade physics class, he wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
Okay. Why not?
Well, because the state board or the state Department of Education has created the certification standard that says you have to go to an accredited university, learn these courses before you're even allowed to teach. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think we should allow schools to decide what the best teachers to hire are.
Okay, so if the school had a different standard than the state, the parents would have the choice to either accept that standard or not. They could look at the teacher certification and say, not good enough for me, or that is good enough for me.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So now, do you have a way to propose this to the state? In other words, are you speaking in front of state boards, or how are you getting this out?
Well, Wyoming Liberty Group is doing monthly events to try and promote these ideas. We're bringing in guest speakers regularly. Last month we had Lenny Jarrett, who's from the Heartland Institute, and he gave us some great content as far as education reform. We've had Denisha Merriweather from the U.S. Department of Education, and we've had Robin Bagley also from the state of Utah, and she's also a great choice advocate. We're talking with legislators. We want to be able to get something done, and we want to get something done soon. I think the education of our children is a crisis, and it's something that needs to be addressed immediately.
Okay, so if someone wants to see upcoming events for Wyoming Liberty Group, they're going to go where? Wylib.org, I know.
Wylib.org. Also go to our Facebook page. We also have a Parents Unite Facebook page for parents who are interested in education choice as well. And please give us a call where we can I'd be glad to talk to you. My name's Austin, so call in and ask for me. I'll be glad to tell you anything.
Right. And again, you just follow them on Facebook, and again, just go to their website. You'll find all of it right there. Any upcoming events, that's where they'll have it. Wylib.org is how I remember. WYLIB.org is where you go to find out more information. All right, coming up on News Time, folks. It's AM 650 KGAB Radio, or you can find us online at KGAB.com.